The installation for the smooth rods into the rod ends comes later, but what you gotta do is basically put the rod in here and then tap the other side to push this into place. Now it doesn't sound like it would be overly difficult. It's just a use of a mallet or hammer, and you just knock this rod in place. The problem is that once the rod end is attached, it's in kind of a fragile spot, and I really don't like the amount of force it takes to get a metal rod into that opening for the first time. So I like to prime them ahead of time. This center hole is 8mm deep, so whenever we prime this opening, we want to insert the rod 8mm. I like to mark it with a piece of tape at the 8mm mark, that way I can see how far I've inserted the rod. Use a straight cut piece of tape, because if you just tear it by hand, you won't be able to tell exactly where your mark is. Here you can see the marked rod, and all I want to do is tap it into place so that the tape reaches the rod end. Now if I get close, that's plenty good, because it'll have primed the opening. In fact, on your final install, you may not push it all the way to the base of the rod end, you just need to get it in deep enough that it feels strong. So let's go ahead and tap this in place. So I've got my metal rod with the blue tape mark for the depth, and I'm going to use a rubber mallet, and I just want to tap this gently. You don't have to go crazy with this, you just want to get it to just kind of prime that opening, and it really doesn't take a whole lot of force. Here you can see the rod end is almost all the way to the tape. There's a little shiny rim of metal there, so I didn't get the full depth, but we only needed to get close. This opening is pretty well primed, and if I do this for all 4 rod ends, when it comes time to actually install the smooth rods, it's not going to be such a fight to get them into the rod ends. Priming the rod ends is the easy part. It's removing them after you've put them on the metal rod that gets difficult. Sometimes you need to go around it like this with a mallet and just kind of turn it, keep hitting each corner, just to make some progress there. But ultimately, when it looks like you've gained a little bit of progress, you should see the silver getting a little wider after the tape. Grip it like this with your hands and pull. So do this for all 4 of the rod ends, and you'll have a much easier time with the installation.